Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about the pop psychology myth that teenage years are a time of angst or psychological turmoil. Contrary to what movies like quote-unquote Spring Breakers or The Breakfast Club may suggest, teenage years are typically not a time of angst and rebellion. In fact, only 20% of adolescents experience strife, with the substantial majority generally experiencing positive moods and good relationships with their peers. So where does this myth come from? Well, the idea that adolescence is a time of storm and stress isn't new. The first president of the APA, or the American Psychological Association, Stanley Hall, referred to adolescence as a time of storm and stress, or Sturm und Drang, which comes from the 18th century German movement in music, art, and literature, which emphasizes the expression of passionate and often painful emotions. Perhaps of little surprise to anyone, Anna Freud, daughter of Sigmund Freud, popularized the view that adolescent emotional upheaval is pervasive. She wrote that, quote, "To be normal during adolescence would by itself be abnormal." Today, popular figures like Dr. Phil claim that if you're a parent, quote, "the teenage years can be a parent's worst nightmare," end quote, and that parents need to prepare for ways to survive adolescence. The media also bombards consumers with statistics citing drug and alcohol use and abuse, unsafe sex, teen pregnancy, school underachievement, and general delinquency. To break down exactly what storm and stress is, we're going to talk about it in terms of three constructs: conflict with parents, mood instability, and risky behavior. In terms of these three behaviors, teens in Western cultures are at a marginally increased risk for partaking in one of these three behaviors. As mentioned before, only 20% of adolescents undergo pronounced turmoil. Teens that are at the highest risk of experiencing emotional turmoil and parental conflict include those with clear-cut psychological problems like depression or a conduct disorder, as well as those who come from a disrupted family background. Additionally, the idea that teens who don't experience a turmoil are bound to experience it later, which came from Anna Freud, is false. In a study following 73 adolescent males over a 34-year period, the researchers found no evidence that well-adjusted teens were at a heightened risk for psychological problems later in life. Offer et al., 2002. Additionally, data from non-Western cultures show that teens do not experience distress as much as those in the U.S. In Japan, for example, 80 to 90% of teens describe their home lives as, quote, fun or pleasant, unquote, and report positive relationships with their parents. The reason for this difference has been hypothesized as stemming from parents in Western cultures treating their teenagers as children rather than maturing adults with grown-up rights and responsibilities. Because of this treatment, Epstein posits that teens may rebel against their parents' restrictions and behave antisocially as a result. In addition to this finding of the difference between Eastern and Western cultures, this myth can cause significant harm to teens with legitimate psychological issues as being dismissed as just going through a phase, and they may not receive the help they need. So what can you, the viewer, do to combat this myth? When you hear your friends or your parents discussing teenage years as though they're destined to be angst-filled or tumultuous, mention that statistically, most teens are well-adjusted and generally content in their lives. In fact, 80% of teens are. Additionally, rates of teen pregnancy have been on the decline since 1990, as well as dropout rates in school. Changing the framing of the statistic from a negative to a positive can have a powerful effect. There's no need to make life any more difficult than it needs to be, and this myth excels in that enterprise. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below with your thoughts, and I will see you all next time. Ciao.